The government devalues the money, destroys the country, and we all go to re-education camps like the great leap forward of the Cultural Revolution under Mao Zedong. But joining us is Cliven Bundy. Haven't had him on in a few months since the historic standoff with the feds where Cliven's family led more than 1,000 men, women, and children, dozens of them on horseback, up against paramilitary, militarized BLM, pointing live guns at them, telling them, don't cross the line or we'll shoot, to get on to his property that he's been on since the 1870s with his family. The feds simply declared and ran off the other 34 families that came on the same wagon train in the 1870s. They declared that they all just needed to leave and couldn't use the land anymore, put grazing fees on the land that the government had grabbed, the open range, impossible to pay. So Cliven didn't pay those since the 90s because he said he would if the state government levied it, but the feds had no jurisdiction, which I agree with, and he's had court cases on that. And the issue here is you've got 85% of some of those western states, actually Nevada's almost 90%, that's where he's based, that are federal. Another 5–6% is state. You're talking less than 5% that's privately owned. I mean, this isn't America. And then, oh, if you're the Chinese and want to come in and build solar farms, go ahead. Or you want to do whatever, that's fine. Or you want to come, you're a foreign company, fine. It's the shutdown of American industry. And we told you beef prices were going to increase. They're at record levels now because they're harassing farmers and ranchers across the country under Obama's Rural Council under Homeland Security that's designed to use environmental rules and fines and fees to shut down agriculture and, quote, rewild America under Agenda 21, the UN Cloward-Piven-style plan to bankrupt this country. So that's why we stood with Cliven Bundy on the principle of what he's doing is right and trying to get people to be self-sufficient again. And so he joins us to give us updates on what happened since that historic situation, one of the only times the feds have backed down in the last 100 years. And it's because they knew what a PR disaster it'd be, shooting men on horseback, trying to go get their cattle that the feds had, who they were basically killing by not giving them any water, dehydration. So, Cliven Bundy, thanks for coming on with us.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege to come on with you, and it's a privilege to talk to the American people one more time. You know, my question would be, America, the free, the land of the opportunity, where is that? Basically, we've lost that. If we have that anywhere, we got it on Bundy Ranch right now, and that's good news.
Well, you're right, and even Rick Perry's weighed in on the fact that the BLM is claiming tens of thousands of acres that is privately owned on the Oklahoma and Texas side of the Red River.
Well, yeah, they're not satisfied owning almost 90% of the state of Nevada and over 60% of the western states. They got to go back across the Mississippi River and monkey with we the people back there. What's wrong with them?
They just have an instinct to take over. They also have existential envy. They don't like people that run their own lives and are self-sufficient. A bureaucrat, a bean counter, is fundamentally sick at their stomach by people that are self-sufficient. You know, they call people like you, Cliven, wild, and they say that they need to get everybody domesticated.
Yeah, they call me a welfare rancher, and also, but you know, I work every day. My family works every day to produce edible commodity for we the people of America and we the people of the world. Now, what do? Do they just cause us trouble? They cause every industry trouble. What service is these bureaucracies and bureaucrats? What do they do for America? You know, we can have a government shutdown and we don't even miss them. I'm saying it's time that we better start cleaning this bureaucracy out, because they have the guns now. They have their armies, and that's what come after me and my friends and family was bureaucracy army with guns, a military tactic, and they were basically out to kill, and that's the truth. That was what was happening here in southern Nevada at Bundy's Ranch.
Well, they also have Snopes that was started by Soros groups and White House-run groups lying and saying there's no connection to the Chinese government and their solar company and no connection to Harry Reid. Harry Reid's people got very upset. They even tried to get us off the radio in Vegas. That was unsuccessful. We're on live right now.
Why would Harry Reid want to get you off the radio, or why would Harry Reid want to get me off the land if he wasn't making money? I guess is what it's all about. It definitely isn't his duty as a senator of the United States to shut your radio down or shut my ranch operation down. He has to have another motive, and it has to be with something to do with money. Well, who has all the money in the world? China must have most of it.
Exactly. Well, they think everybody's dumb, so they don't know that his son, it's been in the Las Vegas Review-Journal, his son is on the board with the company. And no, the solar panels aren't going to be on your land, your open range land that you have a allodial title to on record under state law and the U.S. Constitution, under continuous use and being the first people there as stakeholders.
Well, what they want to do is, even if the solar panels are not on my land, what they want to do is use my land for mitigation.
I was about to say,
you're another endangered species.
Exactly. What they do is they play this game on these PolitiCheck and fact-check sites. They go, Alex Jones and InfoWars.com claim that the Chinese government is going to build on Cliven Bundy's land. Well, A, it's not his land, because I know people don't understand the difference between land that you have a right to use, open range, versus what you completely own. And then they tell the second line. They go, no, the solar panels are 50 miles away. But in the documents on the BLM website, it says your land is set aside as the easement for them to be able to use that. So they play this game. The point is, your land's being taken as part of this deal, and it's in the newspaper 2 years ago, before this all started. It's on the BLM website till they took it down, but it's on the Google Wayback Machine. But they count on readers and viewers being dumb and then thinking we're making that up, Cliven.
I know that. And what's really happening here is they want some area of this Nevada desert to build a solar panel, and then they want to kill the tortoises on that area. Now, I say kill the tortoises on the desert, the native, and that's their native habitat. Now, in order to justify that kill, or the way they call it a take, to justify that take, they say, well, we're going to reserve some habitat over here on Bundy's Ranch for those tortoises. But really what's happening there is not only Bundy and his cattle do they want off that land, they want you off that land so you can't use it for recreation or hunting, fishing, or any other purpose. Build an oil well or a water well, easement for a utility. They want to lock up and lock out, and that's not only what they want. They want policing power with unlimited power over this land. And not only Bundy's Ranch, they're using this tactic all over the western United States, and they're basically the western United States, but all over the United States. They want to lock up and lock out people off the land, and they want unlimited power. Policing power is what they're after.
Well, let me expand on that. This report is up on InfoWars.com. It's out of the New York Times. Some of the news I haven't gotten to today, but I wanted to cover it with you. Obama pursuing climate accord in lieu of treaty, and says he will act outside of Congress with the United Nations and will implement it through the executive branch. So I want to be clear, and that's red-linked on Drudge, and it should be red-linked on Drudge. In fact, we should do a whole article on InfoWars.com. That is our government, and Obama saying he gets authority from the United Nations. My first film about the West, America Destroyed by Design, is more important 18 years later than it was when I made it. Obama pushes for UN climate rules without Congress. I'm going to say that again. And those climate rules will shut down what's left. Only America and Europe have to do these rules. It will make everything that we've got left move to Europe. Move out of Europe, move out of the U.S., and go south of the border or go to China or India. And it won't even help those people there. Cliven Bundy?
Yeah, you just can't understand how big this is when you get talking about the United Nations, UN. This environmental movement, it's basically Agenda 21, I guess you could say it, where they want to clear out all of the land from the people and give it back to nature, supposedly, and the animals. Well, that's not really what they want. Again, they want to take the vast areas, basically through the Midwest now. They want that corridor to go from Canada to Mexico, take out the central part of America, and basically eliminate people and construction, agriculture, everything. I mean, how silly can you be? What kind of human being would think that way? Why shouldn't we go in there and develop it, and increase it, and better it for mankind, and multiply and replenish? I mean, isn't that what we're sort of commanded to do?
Cliven Bundy is our guest. Harry Reid famously said that anyone out there at the ranch, even peacefully demonstrating for the First Amendment, was a domestic terrorist. We forget that people were roughed up, beaten up, tasered, including your son on video, being nonviolent by paramilitary land grabbers, BLM, people masquerading as federal agents. They're not even that. They're UN agents under UN Treaty UNESCO. And now all this is out in the open, that people got mad when they saw that. And the globalists should know, as they push, they're only going to create more opposition. Well, they know that. They want to start a civil war in this country. That's why it's important for the feds and others to be smart enough to not play along with this, but we've got to be smart enough as well. But what do you make of Harry Reid saying, A, you're a domestic terrorist, basically, and B, that there will be a judgment day, that there will be a response, very cryptically? Do you expect the empire of the Chi-Coms and Harry Reid and the land grabbers, the locust, do you expect the parasites to strike back?
Well, you know, Harry Reid didn't only say was domestic terrorists. He said we were violent domestic terrorists. That's earmarking us pretty bad. In other words, would be somebody that was going to bomb the city or do something. I don't know what a violent domestic terrorist does, but definitely it's worse than just a domestic terrorist. And they didn't. Harry didn't just earmark Cliven Bundy. He marked all of those who stood, the thousands that stood with Cliven Bundy as violent domestic terrorists. And what that earmark of being a terrorist puts on us and puts throughout the American thinking, well, okay, now we got a terrorist in America, I guess we should get rid of him, and we can take and shoot him, we can bomb him, we can incarcerate him, we can do anything we want. I guess we could even cut his head off if that's what needs to be done. He is a terrorist towards the United States of America. And that's the title that Harry Reid put up on We the People here at Bundy's Ranch.
And by the way, we warned everyone when they passed the NDAA, when Obama signed that back in 2011, on the last day of the year at night on New Year's Eve, when he said he wouldn't sign it. Turned out his office wrote it, where they could secretly arrest and disappear Americans. Well, look, they can put on paper that they're allowed to barbecue children on the White House lawn. I'm not going along with it. I don't care what their globalist tin badge says. The fact that they've gone so far down the road to tyranny shows that they're completely illegitimate. Congress has a 6% to 7% approval rating, and the police they're trying to put in these armored vehicles are starting to wake up to what's happening. And so the feds are coming saying they're going to save us from the paramilitary police that they set up. I mean, I don't see any way the establishment's going to be able to win this, Cliven, unless they stage false flags and blame the Liberty Movement, and I don't think that'll even work as well. I mean, how does your gut, what does your gut tell you is going to happen in this country? Where do you see this country in 10 years?
Well, let me talk just a little bit more about what happened out here. Let's take my son, Dave, that they basically, he was taking pictures of them moving the cattle, not even in the area where they're gathering it, but going to take pictures of the trucks that had the cattle in it. And they ganged up on him, and they're thugs with their high-powered Army military-type equipment, and they crushed his head into the gravel and arrested him and hauled him off and took him and put him in their jails, interrogated him, and after 2 days, they turned him out on the street, just like a thug would probably take somebody that they're going to rape, and they use her up or whatever, and then they just turn her out on the street. That's the way they treated my son. And, you know, why would a human being or a government act that way? The only thing they can be doing is trying to tell we the people that they have unlimited power and authority. They can do any damn thing they want, and we better not resist or say anything about it.
That's the attitude. Cliven Bundy is our guest. It's called being dishonorable, and people think that's tough nowadays to act like a thug. But we'll be back with Cliven Bundy. Stay with us.
Don't worry. This show is documented. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire.
We're back live. Cliven Bundy is our guest. I'm your host, Alex Jones. I'll go right to your calls when we start the next hour. Matthew, Michael, Jeremy, just everybody that's patiently holding, we'll go right to you. But we do have that clip, in case you're a new listener and doubt us, of Senator Harry Reid a few months ago saying the people out there at the Bundy Ranch, most of them demonstrating for the First Amendment, because the feds were saying basically in half the county, you couldn't even stand on the sidewalk with a sign. They would come up and assault you, that was terrorism. And they got video of one guy aiming his AR-15 down over the overpass towards the feds, which I think was stupid and very provocative. And then they imply everyone's a terrorist because of that. What about the police aiming their 223s at my reporters in broad daylight, who they even knew by name day after day in Ferguson? Is that terrorism? Let's go to that clip of Harry Reid. Here it is.
So these people who hold themselves out to be patriots are not. They're nothing more than domestic terrorists. And I think that we are a country that people should follow the law. And what went up in Mesquite is not very good. I repeat, what went on up there is domestic tourism. Okay, domestic terrorism, not tourism.
That was the Las Vegas Review-Journal video. So there you go. All of this is for the American people, and that's admitted. And so they claim the rendition, the torture, the NDAA, the checkpoints, the NSA was all for al-Qaeda, which is now known as IS, and our government gave weapons to, and is now fighting again. Because it's not our government. It's criminal special interest at every level who are robbing the country 7 ways to Sunday. There are secret death panels for veterans where they have operable cancers with 95% success rates, and they just don't give them the surgery and they die. And then the whore media spins that when the alternative media breaks it. It's going on nationwide as mistakes were made. No, the government and criminal interests have gotten away with bloody murder. And somebody finally stood up to them, and the controlled media acted like we were devils for daring to know the law and what had happened out there. Final comments, Cliven Bundy, in the 2 minutes we've got left, sir.
Well, the question is, who is the criminals here? Was it the federal bureaucracy that pointed the guns at we the people, or was it we the people who were standing up for our liberty and freedoms and our agency, our Constitution, our state sovereignty? Was we wrong, or were they wrong? Where in this Constitution, where in this government does it allow an army to come against we the people? And where would a senator, I say, you brought your army here, how could you justify bringing a militia, not a militia, a military army against we the people? And, I made the statement this will never happen in America again, and yet we see it sort of repeating itself across the country. I don't know when we're going to stop it. We're going to have to stand up for our state sovereignty. Our local sheriff's got to wake up, and we the people, hey, it's our fault. We have allowed this to happen. We got to stop it now.
Well, don't forget, Judge Head in Lubbock 2 years ago said they needed armored vehicles to fight a UN takeover. I'm not even so much against the locals if they're patriots having things to defend the population from drug cartels or whatever. I'm against federal armaments against the people. That's unconstitutional. Here it is out of the Desert News. Representative Stewart seeking to demilitarize federal regulatory agencies. The congressman from Utah says he wants to demilitarize the feds. That's more like it. And that's what's coming out of this from Chris Stewart, Republican, Utah. Cliven Bundy, thank you so much. We salute you for defending liberty. God bless you.
GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio